go back to the other one to make sure it's popping up. But yeah, we should be good.
Yeah, man, I just show up.
Okay.
I show up at the appointed time.
Mm-hmm.
And
just let it go.
And just, yep.
Let go and let God.
I'm like a firefighter.
But they're usually called after as it's happening, not beforehand.
What I'm saying is, I'm not needed until the moment.
Okay.
That's how I look at things.
Wow, that's intense. All right.
Like,
the service you provide is something else.
The service I provide is necessary.
Uh-huh.
But you don't realize how good I am until some blank hits the fan.
Okay.
That's how I look at it. That's how I tell people.
All right, fair.
I may not come when you call, but I'm always on time.
I'm always on time. All right, cool. What's up, Internet World? We're the News 19 Nerds. We're back after being gone. You know how long we've been gone. Forever. Life happens, right?
Yeah.
We try to come when we can and let you guys know in some sort of time. We'll kind of just chat for a little bit as we slowly let people into our chat room as they come in. What's been going on with you?
Life, man.
Them kids.
Just one right now. You want to know what he did today?
What?
Katie was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I mean, it happened." So the nerd room that I have is turned into a second nursery, the second child's room, and I've been taking stuff out of it and boxing everything up. So Katie bought me my first nerd thing she bought me that I can remember that was big was I always wanted Darkseid's statue of him holding the planet in his hand with one hand behind his back, and I had it on the lower thing as I was moving stuff out, and he's gotten this new thing where he picks stuff up
and drops it
and throws it.
Oh.
So he picked it up.
Yeah. Oh.
I was asleep.
Yeah.
They were trying to wake me up because I didn't go to sleep last night. I was still cleaning out the room, and I've been a little under the weather, so this medication has just had me effed up. And so she was like, and I was like, it's just stuff, man. Like, I can't, like, am I sad it happened? Yeah, because I liked it. I love that statue. It was the first piece my wife ever bought me. Could I get it again? Yeah, but...
Sure.
I mean, and that's part of the reason why I don't own really expensive pieces. Because, like, if they broke...
Then you'd be really hurt.
I would.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, like this right here. Like, if this broke, I paid $20 for this. You know what I'm saying? It came with a game. I love the game, but I have the experience. I'm not upset. Like, this right here. Like, this was $5.
Mm-hmm.
Like...
I mean, you don't have to emulate what your son did. But
I mean, it's $5. I'm gonna open it eventually. And I'm gonna play with it. So
okay.
like, it's not like a big deal. So, but it hurt.
No Multiverse of Madness spoilers tonight. That is correct.
We're just gonna talk about the future of the MCU. We're not gonna get into the movie. We're not gonna get into what happened. We're just gonna talk about where is Marvel going next. And I have some theories.
Having said that, I will say this. I don't think it's a spoiler to say. This is definitely a Sam Raimi movie. Would you agree?
It is, but here's the thing.
For good and for worse.
Here's
Better
my
for
question.
Worse, but yeah.
What designates a Sam Raimi movie?
I think
because I can't tell you what it is, but I knew when you said it, I knew exactly what you meant, but I couldn't verbalize it.
To me, I feel like a Sam Raimi movie is shot in a certain way. Characters are framed in a certain way. I think the way he moves the camera around in terms of people's perspective is definitely a Sam Raimi thing that I don't necessarily a lot of other directors do. And granted, I don't know cinematography and stuff like that as well as you do, but I can recognize a few certain things. I'm like, this is definitely a Sam Raimi movie, for better or for worse. I enjoyed Multiverse of Madness. I'll say that.
Okay. Because when you said it, I was like, I see what you're saying. Because I can, like, to me, I can tell what's a Michael Bay film versus a Ridley Scott film. Or I can tell...
Michael Bay's garbage.
I'm trying to lean out of the frame, but I widened the shot up too much. So
I'll take that heat.
I can't.
I'll take that heat.
That's not heat.
He's garbage, and I love it. But it's still garbage.
First of all, he is not garbage. And
how was Ambulance?
Ambulance was great.
All right.
It was, man.
I haven't seen it. I don't know. I'm just like, all right, that's fine.
It was great. Look,
Right.
here's the thing. Everybody's not going to be Scorsese, and everybody shouldn't be Scorsese. And
Absolutely right.
And everybody shouldn't be Jordan Peele. Everybody should be allowed to be. He's not McG. So let's not put that on him. But Michael Bay has a certain type of movie, and he delivers that movie. Now, I'm not going to defend him on his Transformer movies. Those were not my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not going to talk about the man who gave us the Bad Boy franchise. No, you will not, sir.
You know how I feel about the Bad Boy franchise. It's actually really just like Bad Boys 2. I really like Bad Boys 1. And I like Bad Boys 3. Bad Boys 2 is kind of,
Hey, man, you put some respect on Bad Boys, too.
I guess Bad Boys 2 gave a shake your tail feather, right?
If you say so, I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, Bad Boys 2 gave us Reggie. Come on, man. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't hate on the fact that Bad Boys 2 gave us Reggie.
But we didn't know Reggie was cool until, spoiler alert, Bad Boys 3.
No. We knew Reggie was cool because he survived in Bad Boys 2.
Wait, who's Reggie?
Reggie was the one who came to date.
Yeah, but nobody knew that didn't matter.
Yes, it did, man, because he stood the test of time. He was willing to still go on that date. Would you still stay there?
I mean,
no.
As an actor in this world,
No,
sure,
not an
for me to
actor.
come back
No,
for-
not an actor. I'm saying as a man, as a young man going to that girl's house, would you have stayed?
Probably not.
There you go.
Okay.
Reggie stayed.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm just saying.
Okay, you're right.
Gabrielle Union. They went to Cuba to save Gabrielle Union. Now, I'm not going to save Gabrielle Union and going to Cuba. That's just me. I like Gabby.
Yes, fair
but
enough.
I'm not about to violate international law.
You're right. Okay, so people are coming in. Where you want to start?
Let's start with the easy topic. Let's start with Netflix.
Okay.
So, Netflix has been in the news lately, not for good reason. In the last couple of weeks, they had announced that they had lost 200,000 subscribers when they had originally thought that by now they would add 2.5 million. Mm-hmm. Those two numbers don't add up.
Now, when they talked about some of the subscribers, some of that did come from them cutting off Russia, correct? Or is that
Yes.
That is true.
Some of it.
So
here's what happened. Netflix in their Q1's earnings call or whatever it was of their financials that they released for the quarter, Netflix said, hey, I know we said we was going to add 2.5, we kind of lost 200,000, and they're done. And so everybody was like, oh my gosh, Netflix is over, they're dead, they're done. And it's like, they're still the largest streaming service ever. And they lost a good portion of subscribers because of the war in Ukraine with Russia. They cut the service off in Russia, and Russia was like, oh no, you're not going to cut us off, we will cut you off. So you have that. You have them cracking down on people sharing passwords. Mm-hmm. So you had that going on at the same time of them raising rates. So I don't know if you guys have been paying attention. For those of you who have not, your Netflix bill went up.
Right.
So that has been going on recently. On top of that, in the last couple of weeks, we've seen they canceled a bunch of shows. They've gutted their animation department, and they have laid off a ton of people. Now, I don't know how many of those people are. However, the word on the street is, and the people who have been posting about it on social media have been upset because Netflix was on the forefront of saying, hey, we're going to hire for diversity, inclusion, we're going to do all of these things. Mm-hmm. And the first people on the chopping block were the colors. Mm-hmm. And so that caused a real big controversy. Excuse me. Apologize.
Now, devil's advocate, were those also the newest employees?
Again, and I apologize for burping, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Last hired, first fired.
Sure.
So I'm not defending Netflix. I'm not disparaging them. I'm just telling you this is the news that has been reported. Okay. Now, people have been asking, what is Netflix going to do to fix this? Netflix has said that they're going to offer a lower ad tier.
Yeah.
So that's going a lower tier, lower price tier with ads, an ad-supported tier. Go ahead.
As you say that, and I've heard this before, that's interesting because when you write a show or make a show that will have commercial breaks versus not have commercial breaks, it's structured and written differently.
Yes.
So I'm wondering, and I'm like, if you go to like IMDb TV, you can see a lot of shows because
With ads.
right, that normally don't have ads. So it's kind of weird how it stops the show in the middle or whatever. So it'll be interesting to see how they adjust that for those shows because normally they didn't have ads in them.
Well, see, that's a funny thing because here's what I think is interesting with that. Remember when you would watch a movie on TV and there would be an abrupt ad break?
Sure.
So is it going to be like that? Or are they going to put ads in shows that already had ads in them that they've brought over? So here's the problem that Netflix has. And it's a couple of them. One, they're the big dog. Before, when they were the only game in town, and this is not my analogy, so forgive me if I mess it up, but if you are a company who does not make, who is buying everybody else's stuff, right? And you're like, hey, you don't have to sell your stuff, I'll sell it for you, right? And you get so big, you're selling everybody's stuff, and then you start making your own stuff, your own in-house brand.
Yeah.
Those people whose stuff you bought that you were selling will figure out eventually, I don't have to get you to sell my stuff. I can sell my own stuff.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Well, I finish your thought, and then I'll add this. Is looking at stock market stuff about Netflix.
So Netflix was the biggest game in town. They're now up against 5 other streaming services that are bringing their own original content. They have lost the content that they leased. So they lost Friends. They lost The Office. They lost, was it Parks and Rec, Seinfeld.
Wait, who did?
Netflix. Yeah.
Oh,
Friends?
you mean coming up?
No, I'm saying Friends.
I saw Seinfeld today.
On Netflix?
Yes.
Which so it's The Office, Friends, and what else?
You know what? I think you're right, but I think they're the ones who got Seinfeld.
So I know they bought one of them back, but Friends was one of the big ones.
Sure. Yeah.
It's on HBO Max. The Office is on Peacock right now. So all of these different shows that they had that you had to watch on their streaming service that nobody was really paying attention to, they no longer have those. So you have that. Then they were greenlighting everything. And
it's weird because they would greenlight so many things, but they wouldn't renew.
Now, here's the reason why they wouldn't renew it. This is another thing that a lot of people don't realize, the average person. Netflix would greenlight everything, and by the 3rd season, because usually a lot of shows get, they when you hear somebody talk about a show, usually it's the 2nd or 3rd season, people are like, yo.
They're paying attention.
They're paying attention. The 3rd, that 4th, and that 5th season is like when it just really gets good. That 1st season, they're trying to find their legs.
Yeah.
The reason why Netflix kicks off and cancels a season at its 3rd season is because the way Hollywood deals are structured with writers and showrunners, most people get raises on their 3rd season. So the way it works is, and I've been reading Variety and listening to some insiders who, from Deadline and stuff like that, they've been reporting that Netflix, and I don't want to say it's shady, but the people in the industry feel like Netflix, because they were the biggest game in town, Netflix haven't been giving green lights to a lot of shows in their 3rd season unless it's a huge blockbuster because they have to cut a larger check.
Sure. So
most of your shows that Netflix has had longevity to are their front runners. Your House of Cards. Edward Scissorhands Productions says Grace and Frankie. If you've noticed, Netflix doesn't do traditional seasons, they cut them up. That's another thing that they do to make the season shorter. Mm-hmm. That's one of their other little problems they've been having. Another problem that they're running into that other streaming networks have figured out that Netflix did is that they figured out to keep people on the service, you need something that's going to capture someone and have them coming back and string it out long enough that they won't cancel it.
Right.
Whereas Netflix, you wait till a bunch of stuff shows up on the service, binge it, cancel it, wait till it comes back. Mm-hmm. And here's another thing. In the zeitgeist, in popular culture, Netflix shows only last a month, if that. If you don't watch it in that first month,
sure,
around the water cooler, it's over. How many people talk about Russian Doll season 2 right now?
I was going to bring up Squid Games, because I feel like Squid Games was really big for probably about a month, and then it might have died down. Chat, let me know.
It was popular a little more than a month. But what I'm saying is, it's like, here's season 2 of a critically acclaimed show. It had a good following. Mm-hmm. Unless you hit it out of the park, like a House of Cards or Stranger Things, and Ozarks, you're not talked about.
Right.
Whereas, look at The Boys. look at what Amazon has been doing. Look at what HBO Max has been doing. They'll drop maybe 2 or 3 episodes in the beginning, let you watch, and say, okay, hey, and then drop them week by week. Same thing with Disney Plus. Mm-hmm. They have kept the television model to a certain extent.
We've always talked about Netflix, or at least, and whenever we talk about it, I always say I don't understand, because every time I read something, it seems like Netflix is always spending more money than it takes in, and it always seems like they're making so many new IPs and stuff. It seems like they're always operating at a debt, but they were able to fight that because they were growing their subscriber base so much. Mm-hmm. But since that has died down, I'm sure.
They have 200 million subscribers right now.
But since that growth has kind of stalled, that debt, I assume, would be coming up to them or catching up to them. And you can see that in stock prices, because within the last year, the stock price of Netflix was at $700, which was probably overinflated, but now it's down to $180. So might be a good time to invest. I don't know. I don't speak money for y'all, but just saying.
Well, here's the thing, and this is where my question to you is. Mm-hmm. Is Netflix just dealing with what every subscription streaming service is going to have to deal with eventually?
I think so. I mean, eventually you run out of people to sell to, right?
Yeah.
I mean, 200 million. Chat, how many people are in the world?
It's more than that.
Yeah, it was like 7 billion?
I don't know.
Something like that? I don't know. So, I mean, obviously they can continue to grow, but you run into an issue of you have to put infrastructure in places to grow those countries. There are only so many countries that have the infrastructure in place that you can stream content all the time. I wonder if Netflix wouldn't try and do some initiatives to get other countries that maybe don't have the best internet to try and help them out. Like, hey, let's grow their infrastructure, and then we can try and get those people in too. I think Netflix still does DVDs, right? Mm-hmm. It's just most people are doing streaming now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think they kind of hit a plateau. They'll continue to grow. They just probably won't grow as fast. And hopefully with these structure cuts, they'll be fine. I mean, there's so much content on Netflix. It's still cheaper than cable. I think if they ever get to the price where they're the same price as cable, then they might have an issue.
But see, here's the problem. In a way that they are, here's the problem. And this is my biggest thing with. We had this conversation before that I told you that I have with PlayStation Now. Uh-huh. And that any streaming service is going to have this discussion, or any subscription service, not just streaming service, subscription service.
Brian B says 7.98 billion. There we go. All right.
In order to buy this thing, so if you want to have a cell phone, you have to pay a certain amount of money for a cell phone, right? Mm-hmm. In order to have the cell phone, you have to possibly give up something else. So you say when it becomes the same amount as cable, that's when you have a problem. Well, we already have a problem, because in the streaming wars that are going on right now, the top 5 streaming services are Netflix, Disney Plus, HBO Max, Amazon, and I'll say Apple TV. Those are the top 5.
Now Hulu?
Hulu is, I say Hulu. Then out of the top 5, still in the top 10, Apple Plus, Paramount, Peacock. Did I say Peacock yet?
I don't think so.
Peacock, Shudder, Crunchyroll. Mm-hmm. So let's say that's your top 10 right now. Everybody doesn't have all 10 of these.
Sure.
So what are you going to keep Netflix? What are you going to get rid of to keep Netflix, or what are you going to? And so here's the thing: as Netflix raises its prices, and then you can binge whatever you want. My brother-in-law, what he does with streaming services, they keep Disney Plus. They get a streaming service, they binge everything once it's done, and then they cancel it. And they just go through all of them and just restart their account when something new comes up.
Sure.
Netflix continues to raise its price, they're going to price themselves out of the game. And keep in mind, not everybody, people are adding new subscribers. Paramount Plus talks about they just added some new subscribers. Disney Plus, HBO Max, everybody lost subscribers and everybody gained a little bit of them. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing, you make a great point. There's only 8 billion people in the world. The infrastructure for internet is
it's not everywhere.
It's not everywhere.
Yeah.
Every single one of those companies that I named in the top 5 have something else besides a streaming service. And that's the problem that Netflix is going to run into.
Sure. So the question is, can Netflix be saved? I think...
How would you save it? Because we're asking, can Netflix be saved? They're doing all right for right now, but you've mentioned their stock price is down. They're still operating in the red. They've lost subscribers. What needs to be done?
You asked me that question. I feel like having an ad-based subscription model will help for sure. That'll generate revenue in the long term, hopefully. I think the idea of maybe not greenlighting as many shows. Well, the issue is they want to greenlight so many shows because they want to just have their own content. Because eventually, part of the issue with generating so much debt is also paying other companies to license their shows. Netflix is continuing to generate more content so they can have more Netflix original stuff whenever that little thing pops up at the beginning of a show or a film or whatever. I think one thing that they're doing is they are trying to reach out more into international markets compared to the U.S. Like I always talk about Bollywood movies and a lot of Indian and Hindi cinema movies. Mm-hmm. They're getting more into that as in addition to licensing those movies from Bollywood. They're also making a lot of Indian foreign films and stuff like that, which I think is interesting. They're doing that also in France, probably Germany for sure, because what was that show, Dark? I think people really liked. The guy who was in the Jurassic Park movies and was in Lupin, Omar Sy. He just had a new movie come on Netflix Friday.
Action movie.
I'm sorry to watch. I enjoy it. It's called The Takedown or whatever. So yeah, they're definitely trying to get into more international markets to grow that fan base and have more content. So I think they're on the right path. I think it just sucks that they had to cut all these jobs and the share price tumbled. But $700 is probably too much for Netflix to begin with. Again, I'm not a financial expert. I'm just saying somebody that just seems crazy.
So don't listen to Michael when it comes to buying your stocks.
Don't.
But he believes that price is a little high.
Yeah.
So Netflix is already doing that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think they need to do going forward? So they're already doing what you just said.
I think you got to stay the course. I think you got to divest into more international markets. I don't know because I haven't looked, but I don't feel like their K drama stuff like Korean drama, Korean cinema is as robust as it could be. Mm-hmm. I know that's a very booming market, especially for younger people, and so it's like watching stuff on Crunchyroll, watching a lot of K-pop and K-drama stuff. So trying to get into that'd be another market to invest into. So I think getting in those Asian markets and bringing more stuff.
You're saying the same thing. You just admit it, man. You know what they need to do.
I don't. Clearly, I would have said it.
They need to not let people binge everything.
Oh, sure. See, I didn't even think about that.
Really?
No. Because I don't. Here's the thing. I think you started something. I don't know how you go back.
See, but that's the thing. I think for certain shows, I think you have to do that. I think for certain shows, for your press. So here's the thing. Mm-hmm. Netflix did something that no other company did, and that everybody doesn't do, because they realized something that Netflix has kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit. They introduced the binge model, which allowed for you to watch it at your pace. That's great. Certain shows do that. For reality TV, your game shows, all that stuff, do that. Some of your shows, you need to do a tiered release.
Mm-hmm.
You want to watch all of this? Come up with some money.
Sure.
Other than that, here's 3 episodes. You like it? It comes out next week. Because here's the thing. The biggest problem that Netflix has run into is the fact that their shows are hot for a month and then they're gone. And then what happens? People binge it and then they cancel the service.
Sure.
You want to keep people on the service, start timing releases, and then you put the binge mode on some stuff. You got Frasier, let them binge it.
Well, I don't think they're gonna.
But the thing is, Stranger Things, that's a week to week. Like you already know, Stranger Things is a hit.
So when I know you were using Frasier as an example, but the way you said it, it's almost like that is not something that they own. So
that's what I'm saying.
Are you saying? But what I'm saying is,
yep.
Do you think they should do that for stuff
Yep.
that they own?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So you see where I'm going. In other words, you own a lot of stuff. I'm not telling you to put that on everything, but I'm telling you, if you are dumb to drop all of House of Cards on like once it got good and you realize that you're in competition with Disney. Brian B is saying Disney Plus proved week to week is better. I don't. Disney Plus didn't prove it. They just realized, oh, this is dumb to release this all at once.
Yeah.
We're a fledgling service. If we want to keep people and not have them binge all our stuff, we need to start timing releases of critically acclaimed and popular franchises. Stagger them.
Sure.
Moon Knight just ended this week. In 2 weeks, what comes out?
Is that Obi-Wan?
Yep. What comes out right after that?
Miss Marvel?
Boom. What comes out right after that?
I don't know.
Something else.
Sure.
And so that's Disney Plus has learned that. HBO Max is not dropping all of House of Dragon in 1 month.
Right.
That's dumb.
But
go ahead.
No, I agree with you. But HBO Max and whatever, they'd already established what they were doing before Netflix was a thing.
True. But guess what? Amazon used to drop everything at once.
They did.
Do they do it now?
Yeah, but Amazon money is different from Netflix
But what
money.
I'm saying, here's what I'm saying. Does Amazon do it?
No.
So it can be done.
Sure.
You started something, and yeah, you know what? The Circle. Drop that crap in 1 weekend. The Great British Bake Off or whatever other shows you have, the one with Mikey Day, is it cake or is it food? Like,
I've watched that show.
but what I'm saying is,
Man.
drop it.
Sure.
Spend $150,000. Mikey Day comes on. You shoot all of them in a weekend. Stranger Things, drop that week to week because think about it. How many people are going to have the time to watch that every single, just binge it like that? The people who have nothing else to do.
Right.
But the rest of the world has jobs. They have kids. They have lives. The outside is opening up now.
Sure.
So you're dumb if your hottest property is going to be binged in a weekend. And it just doesn't make any sense. And financially, that's the smart thing. So that's what I'm saying. Like, how do you fix this? I think everything you said, financially sound, is a great point. You have to invest in these foreign markets. They're opening up. You want to get ahead of a Disney Plus or a Hulu or whatever they call it, Star. Disney Plus, they call it Star in other markets.
Yeah.
But yeah, you want to be there first, and you want to hold on to them. Umbrella Academy. I can't wait for season 3. And I would be okay if you did it week to week because you get people talking about it.
Sure.
You do not get the moment when Arya Stark killed the White Walker.
Doesn't matter. Sure.
You don't get that moment when you binge a series.
Right.
You don't get that.
Right.
And that's the problem that Netflix has. Name a show that you get that feeling, that sense of community.
Yeah, I don't think you do. I wonder if there's a way for Netflix to generate that type of chatter, even if they go week to week. If there's a way to kind of foster those water cooler moments online. Like if there's a way to grow their online community spaces for people to talk. I don't know the technical savvy to make that happen, but I feel like that's a way to also foster excitement for your shows is generating that online water cooler talk. Whether it's through like Reddit or something or whatever.
So here's the thing. You wouldn't wait week to week for a show like The Witcher and new animated stuff, but that's because you don't have to. Here's the thing. Remember when Disney Plus, when we first started talking, for those of you who have been with us in the beginning, we speculated when Disney Plus came and the first show that they had, Mandalorian, is it going to be week to week or is it going to just drop? Mm-hmm. And what happened?
It was week to week.
And what did we do?
We watched.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, the company has to save some money and has to figure out where they can save money and how they're going to make money. And that right there is one of the easiest things. And I'm not saying everything needs to do that, but the stuff that's prestige on Netflix that they put money into, man, you better week to week that.
Yeah.
How you go get them? Like, I'm trying to help you. Like, you already got my money. And so that's one of those things that I think that they really need to consider doing. But that's just me. I'm just a regular dude on the internet.
Typing away.
Typing away.
Great. All right, that's Netflix. Let's get to the real big meat and potatoes.
Let's talk about comics. A couple of people have been saying, I want to get to it later. Rest in peace, George Perez. George Perez, prolific comic artist, passed away. He had been dealing with some health issues for a while. If you haven't, go check out, personally for me, some of his best work was on The Avengers. To me personally, my favorite work of his was Wonder Woman.
Did he do Teen Titans?
That's the reason why Teen Titans was big.
Okay.
The 90s, just George Perez and Teen Titans.
Okay.
If you like Teen Titans Go, the Titans, Outsiders, whatever you want to call, whatever, George Perez. So rest in peace. So to segue into that, we're going to talk about what's next for the MCU. We're going to do a Doctor Strange review eventually.
There's a lot of reviews we're supposed to do.
Dude, it's... I wish y'all knew what we were going through. Like,
we'll try.
I barely have a voice right now.
We'll try.
Also, don't mix your medications, boys and girls. Forgot I had a son. I took...
Wow, I don't know what to say to that.
Son, I mixed two...
Who are you?
I didn't do that. What happened was I mixed some things, hoping to get a little better. Woke up from my nap to get ready for work. Was late for work. Walked into the living room after I got ready for work. And there was a woman sitting in my living room. And I was like, in my head, I was saying, who are you?
That was a babysitter?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like...
Nice.
And I'm having this internal dialogue of, I'm sitting on my couch.
Uh-huh.
And she has a baby monitor. I was like, oh yeah! I was like, Evan.
Yeah, that's right.
I was like,
who? The child I created.
I was like, man. I was like, what is in these things?
Oh, man, I love it.
Yeah, so yeah, what's next for the MCU? Michael, go.
No, you guys know how we do this. We kind of just come up with topics off the rip whenever we come up with stuff. We try to be timely, but also since we don't do our show weekly like we would like to, sometimes we get topics later and we just come up with stuff. So I sent a text to Leroy and I said, is the phase 4, what's the future? What was the text that I said?
I'm looking it up right now.
Okay. I can't remember exactly, is the MCU lost or?
Is the MCU lost?
Yeah, is the MCU lost?
Because here's what you said. It's not a fully formed thought, but it seems like we knew where the other phases were going. It's hard to connect where phase 4 is going. The MCU is a victim of its own success. People expect everything to be connected, and we had several movies in this phase now, and it's difficult to see exact where we're going. Liz, maybe that's on purpose. You said
that. Yeah, Liz is supposed to be butt.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what Liz
that's
was.
On purpose. Yeah.
I was like, maybe he something. I don't know.
Typing too fast with my fat fingers.
Okay.
So yeah, that's kind of the premise of what we have, right?
Okay.
But I think, and it's easy to do that now in 2020, but I feel like
go ahead.
There was a roadmap, and maybe that's because Kevin Feige would sometimes do like these big press conferences and be like, here's what's coming in phase 3. It's coming this date, this date, this date, and it's leading to this. He hasn't really done that for phase 4. He kind of told us what movies were coming out and introduced characters and actors and stuff, but I don't think he's ever said, this is all leading to this. Granted, they don't have to do that maybe because it is Marvel, it is MCU. They have kind of earned that right to maybe have a little bit of a suspense and some secrecy in what's going on with phase 4. But I feel like in 6 movies of phase 1, we got Thanos at the end as a teaser for Avengers. And they were like, oh, Thanos is coming. That's cool. I wonder, so...
Keep talking on this.
No, I'm trying to, my thoughts are everywhere.
I know where you're going.
No spoiler alert for Multiverse of Madness, but everything else we will just, and no spoiler alert for Moon Knight. But everything else, spoilers are game.
I know where you're going, you just aren't getting there yet.
Okay. Apparently Leroy hasn't accepted me. Did I say Leroy? I think I did. Leroy hasn't accepted me. I wonder when we saw Jonathan Majors as, what was he called? He who shall not be named?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Kang.
Well, was that variant Kang or was that a different whoever?
That was Immortus and Kang together.
Okay. I'm wondering if we're going to get another variant of Jonathan Majors. Seeing him, I wonder, is that what we're leading up to?
Yeah, we're going to get a bunch of them.
Okay.
Because he said it in Moon Knight. He was like, there are other versions of me that are not so nice. And he was like, and they're coming. Mm-hmm. So here's...
I wonder when that's going to happen. I feel like we've had a bunch of different movies. I've enjoyed all the different movies. I realize they don't hit for everybody like the other stuff. I really like Eternals, but when people are like, Eternals was boring, I can see that.
Oh, yeah.
It's a movie you got to pay attention to.
I can see that.
I really enjoyed Shang-Chi a lot, just because it was a different movie. I really love the choreography of that. Mm-hmm. What are the other ones we've had so far?
Black Widow.
See, Black Widow's so weird because that's supposed to come out.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. I see we're building to this multiverse. We're building to multiverses overall. Mm-hmm. I want to know, when are we going to start seeing crazy stuff really happen between them and tie it in and be like, oh, here's another Iron Man that we hadn't seen or whatever.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
Okay.
So I've been spilling for whatever to give you some time to...
No. I'm listening because I know what you're trying to say. You just hadn't gotten there yet, so I'm going to help you out. When you said that they lost because we knew there was a plan, mm-hmm. The reason why you knew there was a plan, there it is. Well, this part of it. So the reason why you knew there was a plan was because when he showed up, everybody knew who that was. Can you see him in the shot? Okay.
I don't know yet. Yes, you can.
Okay. Everybody knew who he was, or at least what he represented, right?
Uh-huh.
So they knew, here we go.
Now, here's the thing. When you say everyone, who's everyone?
I'm saying...
Like you and I, or your mom and your dad?
No. You and I knew... not most. A lot of people in the nerd world knew who Thanos represented because, as people pointed out, George Perez did the cover for an Infinity Gauntlet. The Infinity War, that whole idea of these Infinity Gems. The story had been around long enough for people to realize if you have Thanos and you have the Infinity Stones, you're going to get to the Infinity Gauntlet. Mm-hmm. And then the Easter eggs happen, and everybody realized, oh, that's where they're going. Mm-hmm. So, because the way Marvel was structured, because Disney had only had the rights to their Avengers characters. Sony owns Spider-Man and his periphery characters. Fox at the time owned everything that dealt with the X-Men, Fantastic Four. Universal owns the Hulk in solo movies. So they never really had the entire smorgasbord to play with. They had to be very narrow in what they could do and who they could work with. Mm-hmm. So if you remember, they built to the Avengers. Kevin Feige said, we're going to do solo movies, introduce these characters, get you established to knowing who these characters are, then we'll put them together. He knew no one knew who the hell Thor was. Mm-hmm. No, Thor was not, like, people know Thor as a person, as a mythology, but they didn't know who Thor the character was. They didn't know Odin's son, the All Father, Heimdall, Ragnarok. Like, these terms were foreign to people. Feige, through Jon Favreau, who started it off with Iron Man, they knew that they had to grow these characters. So you knew where it was going because you knew in your nerd mind the culmination of the storyline could only go but one place. Mm-hmm. Now that Marvel owns basically all of their characters back, they can do anything. And that opens the door for everyone to say, oh my gosh, where are they going? Mm-hmm. That's why it doesn't seem as if there's a cohesive storyline. Okay. Because we've introduced the Eternals. They're not a household name. Right. The Eternals movie was different. The characters aren't well known. The storyline didn't tie into and didn't have these far-reaching arcs that we know of that were woven into everything like before. So when we watched Thor 1, 2, and 3, we saw all these different things. We saw pieces of Planet Hulk. We saw the head of Beta Ray Bill. We saw, you got the Warriors 3. You got all this different stuff woven into that, and people were able to pick that out. We got Guardians of the Galaxy, so you knew Nova was coming. You knew they were going into space. So you knew you got Star-Lord. You got Ego, the living planet. You got Mantis. You got all of these different things, and they caught on. Mm-hmm. Eternals, it was hit or miss. Right. But they're here now because there's so much of the Pandora's box, the sandbox has been opened. If you're watching, and if you go to watch Doctor Strange, they're going to introduce terms that you need to be aware of. We're not going to talk about them here, but if you followed what the MCU is doing, I am going to speculate this is the culmination of all the phases, that this is where they're building to. I don't think it's going to come anytime soon. I think it's going to take a while. You've got a whole bunch of other things to happen to get there. Mm-hmm. You have a lot of cosmic entities that you need to get to.
I don't remember what day this was, but I remember going to IGN and seeing a story that said Kevin Feige has said he and the Marvel MCU leadership team are going to go back to their retreat structure. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, for those who aren't familiar, one thing that Kevin Feige has instituted as he's done these phases is a lot of the executive producers will go together on a retreat and talk about where a phase is going or what they're doing for the next 10 years. Like, that's kind of how they planned out phase 1, 2, and 3. Within the last 2 or 3 months, I think Kevin Feige has said, they're going to do that again. We're planning out the next decade of what is going to be in the MCU. So that gives me hope. And granted, I'm not upset that I don't know exactly where they're going because I've said it on this show. I don't know everything about comics. I'm excited. It's just interesting to me that I don't know it as well. And maybe because Thanos to me was more well known than Kang the Conqueror, so maybe that's easier for me to understand. Because where we're going, and that's part of the reason why it was easier to understand. You knew who Thanos was. Mm-hmm. You'd seen him because the Infinity Gauntlet storyline is an older story. If you watch what happened in Doctor Strange, that storyline is fairly new. Some of the things that happened in it. Okay. If you've been watching what the MCU has been doing, they've been cherry picking different storylines. So even Endgame isn't technically the Infinity Gauntlet story. It's a combination of Infinity. Sure. It's a combination of the Infinity Gauntlet story and Jonathan Hickman's Infinity storyline. We had the Black Guard, Proxima Midnight, Ebony Maw, all of those characters are introduced in Jonathan Hickman's run in Infinity. But then you also have... You know what? Mm-hmm. This is Todd. Because we said he's in Florence, right? What? Yeah. Hickman? Mm-hmm. It would be great for us to somehow connect. Oh, I've tried. Yeah, that would be awesome. He might think I stalk him now, but I've tried. Okay, that just... So here's the funny thing. You know Alan Wallace, right? Yeah.
Alan Wallace, for let's catch you guys up. He used to work here with us. He was a producer here, and he now works for the University of South Carolina. But he also freelances for Cola Daily. Jonathan Hickman on his social media asked people, "Did anybody want to proofread Black Monday Murders?" And Alan Wallace was like, "I do," and he sent him the early advanced copies.
That's very cool.
And Alan got to proofread and help edit a little bit of it and send back like, "Hey,
cool.
this is," like he got to check the great one. Yeah. And I asked Alan, I was like, "Hey man, let me get that email address."
I love it.
I was like, "Hey man, let me get that email at him." Yeah. And so he sent it to me. I emailed him a couple of times. I never received anything back. I didn't expect to, but I tried. I shot my shot. It's like, when you meet somebody who's hotter than you, and you're like, that person's out of my league, but I'm still gonna ask them out. Sure. That's what I did. I shot my shot at Nia Long. So that's what I did. Sofia Vergara. I was like, Kobe.
Great.
That thing bricked like a mug.
You were like J.R. Richardson.
Pretty much. No. Yeah, maybe.
Just throwing it up. Sometimes
just
it goes
throwing
in,
it
sometimes
up.
it doesn't. Yeah.
So I bring all of that up to say Jonathan Hickman's run is what I've been noticing. That's what they're going with. But keep in mind, they're still cherry picking exactly what is going on. So because we know eventually, we know that this is going to be a show. Mm-hmm. We know that there's been talk that some of the characters that we've known to grow and love have not been the characters we've known to grow and love.
I am convinced, and I'll continue to say it so that if I'm right, I'll seem like a genius. I'm convinced that Sharon Carter is a Skrull.
Really?
Yeah. When we talked about what do you call it? Winter Falcon?
Oh yeah.
When we talked about that, I was like, because her character arc just seems so weird.
Well,
I'm hoping it's a Skrull.
You know that that was a real big. Hey man, Def Rocker. Hey. I am Nia Long's boyfriend. She doesn't know that. I do not coach the Celtics.
I don't want to be a part of this. What? This feels like some type of.
I was this close to meeting her when she was at the Black Expo.
Okay.
I was.
Okay. Cool.
Anyway.
Anyway.
That's why I like the Celtics coach. I mean, that's why I like the Celtics. But anyway, that's another story. We're down 2-1. Secret Invasion. We know that there are going to be some people who are Skrulls. So that's one storyline. Here's the thing, and I've said it before. They now have the entire sandbox to play with.
Sure.
So I believe eventually this is where we're going. We're going here because this allows them to reset the entire MCU one day. Mm-hmm. With that being said, it's going to be a phase or two before we even get here. You still got to go through.
Question. I was going to ask, do you think the X-Men will be introduced before we get to this?
That's the question.
Oh, okay.
And so here's the thing. We know that the Fantastic Four was supposed to be directed by, what's old boy who did Spider-Man?
Chad will say it in a second. I can't think of his name, but yeah.
But he was supposed to do he did the Spider-Man trilogy. He's going to step away from superheroes. He's going to come back for the next Spider-Man trilogy. He's not going to do Fantastic Four. We still have to introduce the Fantastic Four. We still have to introduce Mark Webb. Thank you, because I want to say
that's not the name.
It's not Mark Webb. Mark Webb did Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Matt Reeves did Batman. Who did the last?
The Spider-Man director we're talking about is the one who did
No Way Home.
The ones
the
with
last
Tom
trilogy.
Holland.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Mark Webb was the one for
Amazing
Garfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we still have characters to introduce before we get to Secret Wars. We still have Fantastic Four. You still have so many more people to get to before you get there. For me personally...
John Watts.
Thank you.
There we go. John Watts.
For me personally, I think... One of the things that I think when you watch Doctor Strange, when you see Doctor Strange and you realize what's going on, and I say this over and over again, go back and read the source material. Go back and read the comics. Not just because they're going to give you a leg up on what's going on in these movies to help you understand. They're great stories. Jonathan Hickman is probably one of the best comic writers superhero comic writers today. Go to your local library. I guarantee you they have his run there from his work on Fantastic Four. Even if you don't like superhero comics, go read his Black Monday Murders, his Decorum. Go read East of West. He has tons of books that aren't just superhero. But go read Avengers storyline. Go read Avengers storyline with Jonathan Hickman, and that you'll see the different pieces that they're pulling to put in Doctor Strange 2, that they're putting in these different movies. For me personally, I think that's where they're going. Because to me, the big moments that they've been pulling from have been classic storylines paired with some of these new writers. If you go and look at the Thor Love and Thunder trailer, there's a literal shot-for-shot panel in that trailer from Esad Ribic. I think that's how you say his name. From the Thor run, from Jason Aaron, on screen. Like there are literal pages. You go look at Esad's run and look at that, and you're like, there's a part where him and Korg are standing on top of, and there's like this dead giant monstrosity there. That's Ribic's work. Like, so these storylines are amazing, just in their own right. So I say go read that stuff. But that's where I think that they're going. Because they didn't have the constraints they had before.
Sure.
They couldn't tell an Endgame story with the X-Men. Now they can do a Secret Wars or a Secret Invasion, and they can throw in mutants once they introduce them. We now know that they're going to do a Fantastic Four movie. Mm-hmm. They got to cast a Fantastic Four movie. They got to find a director. They got to figure out what storyline. Do they introduce Doom then? Mm-hmm. How did we know Kang is going to be in the Ant-Man movie, right?
Yeah. I'm wondering, are we going to see Kang before? Because we were not expecting him in Loki. I don't think. Nobody thought that.
I kind of did, but I was
okay.
I was hoping.
Okay.
I was hoping. I didn't think, I was hoping. I thought it might have been Mephisto. But once things started, I was like, this is Kang.
People keep bringing up Mephisto. We haven't seen Mephisto, MCU's version of Mephisto yet.
Because a lot of people thought he would show up in WandaVision. A lot of people thought Doctor Strange he would show up. And there's still a chance. He's still out there. We don't know. We got Dormammu. We know Dormammu is still out there. If you watch the trailer in Doctor Strange, you know Gorath. Shumagorath.
I think in the movie he's called like Jargontos or something.
Yeah, he's called something else. For legal reasons, yes.
But yeah.
So there are still opportunities, and with the Eternals, there's a chance we could see all purple Big Bag Daddy come back. Okay. Because now we've introduced the multiverse, which means we've already introduced time travel, which means...
I mean, yeah. So now we are to the point where nobody's really dead anymore.
There you go.
Live action version of that. Because it's always been in comics, but that's going to be interesting. We haven't had a character come back from the dead yet, have we? In live action?
Red Skull.
He didn't die, though.
Yeah, he did.
He got whisked off to another dimension.
We thought he was dead until he showed up,
Yeah, but what I mean is...
Thanos decided to eat,
I want somebody...
Abraham and Isaac, his daughter, off the...
I want somebody to, die.
Oh.
And then, down the line, they're back again and be like, oh, I was able to do that. That's what I want. But, yeah.
So this is what I'm saying. We're going to get like this. And for a lot of people, this might not be one of the most popular Avenger runs. All new different Avengers. Mm-hmm. But this is where they're going. It's just the Iron Man is probably going to be Riri. You're probably going to get Natalie Portman Thor. You're going to get the Vision come back. And that Spider-Man is probably going to not be Miles Morales. It's probably going to be Peter Parker. So you're going to get a version of this. We already Kevin Feige has always said he's wanted a Nova movie. The Black Widow we have is Florence Pugh. We know that's going to be Black Widow. We still have to wrap up. So there's a lot going on before we get here. Mm-hmm. I think that there's going to be a lot of different storylines or mega events before we get to this. But I believe eventually this is where we're going. we still have to wrap up whatever's going on with this Thunderbolts. It seems that they're building to, and the Young Avengers that they're building to. We've seen most of the Young Avengers in one way, shape, or form.
Sure.
We've seen what looks like the building with Contessa from Winter Falcon. So we know eventually we're going to get some version of the Thunderbolts because we've got a U.S. agent, we got Ghost, we've got a wicked Scarlet Witch, not Scarlet Witch, Black Widow, who's, I don't know, kind of, sort of. So we're going to get some type of Thunderbolts. Now, is that going to be a team that gets its own show, or is that just a government team that operates because they can't control the Avengers?
Sure. A question I have for you, and it's kind of rhetorical because I don't necessarily believe it, but it's just a kind of a devil's advocate thing. Is Marvel a victim of its own success?
Yes.
Didn't finish the question. Shut up. Is the MCU a victim of its own success?
Yes.
I hate you. Slash, is superhero fatigue setting in?
No.
Okay.
Reason why I say yes and no. Marvel's a victim of its own success because when you are the top dog, when you are the Patriots of movies, and I hate the Patriots.
Wow, I can't believe you said that.
I hate Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, Robert Kraft. I hate Foxborough. I drive by it. Whoo! Hate it. They stole a Super Bowl from the Carolina Panthers. I will never forgive them. Anyway,
Carolina Panthers lost the Super Bowl.
They lost it because they cheated. Anyway.
Carolina Panthers have lost several Super Bowls.
Only
because
two.
of him.
Nope, only two.
They've only been in two, right?
The second one they didn't lose because of the Patriots. They lost because they lost to the Broncos. Anyway.
They lost to Cam Newton's Cam Newton.
No. Don't.
I said it.
I
said it.
I will Sparta you off to that chair.
That's fine. I said it.
I will say it again. The Marvel MCU are the Patriots of movies. No one has done what Disney and Marvel has done with a singular storyline through almost 30 films.
Sure.
No one has done that before.
Yeah.
The closest anyone has come to, the two franchises that have come close, and it's taken them over 40 years to do it, Star Trek and Star Wars. Think about that for a second.
Yeah, I mean, like financially, I think that's
not even financially. Just in terms of movies, television, no one has come close. Marvel's done this in 10 years.
Well, they weren't really doing TVs in 10 years, though.
What?
Like, because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., as much as I love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that wasn't considered canon.
What I'm saying is, in 10 years, Marvel has told one continuous story.
Sure.
With TV, with television and movies. Star Trek, Star Wars have been around for over 40 years, have been telling one continuous storyline, and they have not even scratched what the MCU has done.
I get what you're saying. I don't know if I would agree only because, like, the Marvel Universe is already based on something that was written already. Like you said, they're cherry picking stuff, so they have a blueprint of what they're doing. Like Star Trek and Star Wars, that was that IP that they created as they were doing it.
As they were doing, what I'm saying is, after they've already created, you have the creation, you have the IP. Mm-hmm. Look at what they've done afterwards. I'm not saying it's bad. What I'm saying is they have not done story-wise what the MCU has done. Story-wise. In 40 years they haven't done it. As many movies as Star Trek has done, as many timelines that they've had, back and forth between time travel, different crews, different ships, they have not done what the MCU's done. The MCU stands at the height of movie storytelling. No one has done this before. Say what you. I mean,
we're at an impasse because I don't think we're not seeing the same thing that I'm saying. So I don't know how to say what I'm saying. I get what you're saying, but what I'm trying to say is, Star Wars and Star Trek, like their story happens as it's being written. The MCU is all based on something that's already been written.
No, I guess what I'm saying is the MCU has a beginning. They're telling a continuous story as far as theatrically through movies and television because they're telling one long story.
Okay.
Star Trek and Star Wars are set in the same universe, just like the MCU is. And there are different universes, Delta Quadrants, whatever.
Sure.
They're telling one story and then that's it.
Sure.
Then they're telling another story set in this same franchise.
Okay.
And then that's it. And they keep doing it. Whereas Marvel is saying, no, everything is on this one timeline.
Sure.
616. And everything connects some way, shape, or form. And everything that we are going to do has to tie back into this storyline.
Okay. I agree with that.
And that's what I'm saying. No one has done that before. Even though the only other movie franchise that has come close in the last 10 years, I'd say 20 years, is the Fast and Furious timeline. And that's saying, like, think about that for a second. Vin Diesel's crazy ass is the closest anybody's come to what the MCU is doing.
Going back to MCU stuff and superhero fatigue, I think people keep trying, because they're on top, people keep trying to knock Marvel down.
They're the Patriots.
Yeah. So
Tom
Deadline is
Brady
reporting Doctor Strange will probably make 198 to 200 million opening weekend. So I don't think there's a necessary superhero fatigue. I think you can say that there is a sameness to MCU movies that is different from DC movies.
Yes, there definitely is.
I think that's a fair criticism.
Oh,
I do like the fact that Marvel does seem to be letting directors do more things within the movie, although it says to fit a certain criteria. You can definitely tell, oh, like we said, this is a Sam Raimi movie. Oh, this is a Chloe Zhao movie for Eternals. This is whoever's movie.
It's still an MCU movie.
Sure.
And so that's the thing, the difference between what everybody else is doing. I don't think there's a superhero fatigue, because here's the thing. And a lot of people are like, there's only just superhero movies out. With those people who say that, because I got a couple people who put that on like social media timelines. Last weekend, Northman came out. Michelle Yeoh's movie came out. What's the other?
That was a while ago.
Huh? No, that was 2 weeks ago.
You just said last weekend.
I'm saying they were in that. That was the last weekend that all three of them were in the movies before Doctor Strange came out.
Oh, okay.
So what I'm saying is, you had, what was it? There was another third movie. It was a third movie that was really good. I cannot remember because I haven't made it out to see Northman, and I will. There's a third movie that came out that only came to movie theaters.
I don't know.
And it was good. It was three, because basically what a lot of people are like, only thing in the movie theaters is superhero stuff. Go see The Northman. Go see
Everything All at Once. Everything
yes.
Everywhere All at Once. Yeah, that was a good movie.
X was out there. Nicholas, thank you. Zaylan Nuru, Nicolas Cage's movie.
Yeah, I do want to see that.
Those three movies were in the box office for a month, unchallenged. I don't want to hear anybody complain about Marvel movies.
I think because they're probably getting the biggest push because people see them. People think like that's the only thing there. But yeah, there's definitely movies to see.
That's what I'm saying. Like, go out and see, because I want to see The Northman.
Yeah.
I think that looks amazing. I want to see Nicolas Cage movie being Nicolas Cage. Like, really?
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage being Nicolas Cage? The man from Face Off?
How's Face Off 2 going, by the way? Do we know?
Yeah, it's going great.
Do you know, or were you just excited?
No, they said it was, Nicolas Cage was talking about it when he was on the red carpet. Because they asked him, did he want to be in a Marvel movie again? And he was like, yeah, he already knows. He wanted to be in Marvel, and he wanted to be in Batman franchise. He wanted to be Mr. Pig. I think he's
Cage,
Mr.
man.
Pig.
What a treasure.
Yeah.
What a treasure.
So yeah, I don't think there's fatigue. I think people only because it's a popular narrative to knock whoever's on top. When you're the big dog, people come for you. When you're the Patriots, people come for you. When Patrick Mahomes was on top and he looked like he was going to run through the NFL, everybody was hating on him. Joe Burrow comes out. He was killing the game. He was at LSU. They were like, oh my gosh, he had the greatest season. He was a rookie. He ain't going to be. And then he got hurt. Then he came back. He took the Bengals to the Super Bowl. Do you know the last time the Bengals won a playoff game? Do you want to know?
When?
I had hair.
Wow. All right. This got personal real fast.
I'm just saying, like,
yeah.
And so when you're on top, people come for you.
Sure.
So Marvel is on top. There is no other company as big as Marvel as far as when it comes to movies and television.
Sure.
You get a Marvel deal, you got money. And this is the thing. Look at what it has done for people's careers. Robert Downey Jr. had to be caught by his agent with a butterfly net in bushes.
Ken from Chicago says people have superhero advertising fatigue.
You know what? That's right.
That's good.
That's
I can see that.
But
Yeah.
and because I personally do not like all the trailers for the Marvel movies. I didn't need all the trailers for No Way Home. I didn't need all the trailers for Doctor Strange. Matter of fact, all I need is the teaser for Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah, I'm hoping not to see anything else.
Yeah,
at this point, because they waited so long to show it, I'm kind of good.
Yeah, just
I don't need to see anything else.
We're gonna go see it. You got us.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to avoid trailers.
That's what I say. When it comes to Marvel, they're the biggest game in town. Everybody's gonna take their shot. Remember when Harry Potter was hot, and everybody was literally lining up. Remember when Twilight was hot? Whenever something's hot, there's always imitators. So we've got everybody running around trying to build their own superhero franchise, Warner Brothers, and failing miserably. But in their failure, they gave us something great. Peacemaker.
Sure.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
So you have those things. You got Vin Diesel trying to jumpstart Valiant's comics. You had Netflix trying to do the Millerverse. So everybody's trying to piggyback off of them. But whenever you're on top, someone is always trying to knock you off. And I think that's part of it. But I also think there's so much to choose from. It's like when you remember when you were a kid and before, when your parents would pick like what you got, and that one time, that first time you got to go to a buffet and you got to pick your own food.
Sure. Yeah.
It was overwhelming at first because there were so many options. You didn't know what to do because you were in charge of your own plate. That's what Marvel is right now. Nobody knows because your palate was so restricted. You knew what you were going to get when you were going to get it. Don't mistake that the pandemic played a part into this.
Oh, for sure.
So, because Black Widow was supposed to already come out, Shang-Chi was already supposed to come out. We're supposed to be further ahead in this phase than we are.
Sure.
So that's part of it. But also we have so much more. We don't know what's going on with Guardians. We know Adam Warlock is going to be in that. We know we're going to get some type of Guardians Christmas special. We know we're going to get a Nova movie. We don't know when Black Widow will come back. We know we're getting a Loki season 2. We don't know if we're going to get a Moon Knight season 2. So we don't know a lot of things. We know Black Panther's coming out later this year. The Marvels are coming out next year.
Yeah.
It's just right now we have so much, and we need to just wait, trust in Daddy Feige. He's going to take care of us.
Okay.
He's not let us down. I mean, and this is another thing. He's admitted when he's made mistakes.
Sure. When
he cast the Tilda Swinton as the agent, when he was like, you know what, I dropped the ball on that, and he's corrected his mistakes. He's cut all of the Marvel shows, brought them back into the fold, and said, you know what, we didn't handle this right. Now all the Marvel shows are under one umbrella. This is how we're going from now on.
Okay. Yeah, we've been doing this for like an hour and some change. That's it for us. What got you through the week?
Drugs, man.
Okay.
I was high as a kite a couple of them days.
Endorsement from Leroy.
Mucinex.
Mucinex.
And Alka-Seltzer Plus. Don't mix them.
So we were on at a later time than we normally are. We normally probably wouldn't be. Well, who knows? Leroy got kids, so we'll be on whenever we can, honestly. We are still working behind the scenes to make this streaming easier for us.
And on time.
Yeah, so that way, because when it is easier for us, then we will be more consistent with it. We're just trying to figure out what that's going to be.
And I'd have more props.
True, you have more props.
Because I was going to show
For
you
the people who are new to the chat, thank you for joining us. That's been awesome. I saw a lot of new names that I haven't normally seen.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're just new or they're just new to chatting. Either way, glad you guys are here in the chat. We normally try to stream on Saturdays, but long-time watchers know we're not consistent as much as we should be. Trying to think of what else. Boom, boom, boom. We will try and do this again next Saturday, but y'all know us. Usually we'll try to put something on Instagram or Twitter about it. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. I think that's all the stuff.
Yeah.
What got me through the week? What was I watching? I was watching this anime. I think I might have brought it up a couple weeks ago, or a few weeks ago, called Spy Family.
Okay. I was going to say, is it kid friendly or like adult? Like, is it family friendly? Sorry.
Well, it's called Spy Family. I mean,
Okay.
it's anime, so
That's why I was like, the anime could go.
Yeah. I don't think it's as wild as Food Wars, and I love Food Wars.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. Hey, man, Food Wars is fantastic.
I know. Grace tells me about it.
Oh, she watched it too?
Yes, we had a whole thing on it.
Oh, okay, cool. I didn't watch that episode. I wasn't on it. It's being real, man. I'm just being real. Watch Spy Family. Really enjoying that. I'm watching the movie The Takedown that has Omar Sy in it. Video game wise, I'm playing. What am I playing? I just finished Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, trying to finish up Halo.
I told you that was good.
It was very good.
Hey man, y'all go
That story's
play
great.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
And it's on Game Pass.
And it's cheap on Amazon. I think they were selling for like $20 or $30.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
I might try to actually start Deathloop because I bought that. Haven't played it yet, but I'm gonna try Deathloop.
I started it and then I stopped.
So, there we go.
I haven't played a video game in 2 weeks.
There we go.
Yeah, man. I've been sick all week, so this is part of it. And then
Oh, Brian B. Am I playing Trek to Yumi? I need to download it. I did see it was on Game Pass. I haven't downloaded it yet, but that does look pretty cool.
Kim from Chicago, Strange New Worlds. I'm gonna try to watch that because I'm actually interested. The trailer got me. That was Rebecca Romaine in that trailer.
I know it was.
I did not recognize her. When you said it was Rebecca Romaine, I was like, "Are you drinking?" I was like, "Are you high too?" I was like, "Did I give you this medicine too?" I was like, "Cause that is not." And then when I went back and watched it, I was like,
Yeah, she got a different hair color.
I was like, "Yo, you look familiar."
Yeah, she does. Anyway, we out.
Oh, Halo.
Oh, yeah.
I've been watching Halo.
You have been watching Halo. You've been enjoying it.
I have.
I've been lukewarm on it.
Liev Schreiber is really good as Master Chief.
Okay.
I've really been enjoying it. Oh, before we go, it was Free Comic Book Day today. If you have a comic book store in your neighborhood or in your area, go check them out. They're having a lot of great sales. But also, George Perez passed. One of his biggest things was the Hero Initiative. So go check that out. Donate. That's what he wanted. He didn't want anybody to give him money. He was like, I'm good. Go check out Hero Initiative. Donate to them. They have a very do a lot of charitable work. But check out your local comic shops. Go to your library. There's a lot of stuff that we talked about. If you cannot afford, because trust me, comics are expensive. My wife every week goes, why is there a charge on our card for this amount? So when we went to Free Comic Book Day, I didn't buy anything. And I was like, I felt real bad. I wanted to get me and Evan something. And I wanted to support the Free Comic Book Day. You're not just supposed to go in and just get free comics. She's like, you support Eric every week. She was like, he's good. Yeah. He's got enough of our money. And I was like, okay, I need you to calm down. Stop yelling at me.
She got that pregnant lady straight.
She was. I was like, man, I need you. But anyway, go check out your local comic book store. But if you cannot go check out your local library. If your local library usually has a Hoopla account that's free, you can download and read comics on your digital devices. And they usually have, after a couple of weeks, couple of months, the latest comics and singles. So you can do that. I've cut back and started using it. That's why I want to buy a new tablet. So that's what I want to say. George Perez was a god and when it comes to art, when it comes to comics. I cannot speak enough about his Wonder Woman art. I have bought books just for his covers. Go check out his Avengers runs.
Who did that one?
This?
No.
Oh, that's Art Germ.
Okay.
I don't have any George Perez stuff here.
Okay.
I value that.
Oh, okay. Got it.
That's valuable to me. Those are in cases. Yeah, Evan would have tore that up. He'd got to stay with his grandparents. I cannot talk enough about George Perez. When I got into comics, he was one of the people whose art drew me to getting into DC stuff. It was when he drew the Teen Titans and Brother Blood and his Nightwing, his Donna Troy. I had a thing for Donna Troy. Starfire. When I tell you the Teen Titans, Marvel had the X-Men, DC had the Teen Titans, and George Perez built the house that the Teen Titans and DC lived on. And that's all, I mean, he was one of the greatest. And so he will be missed. Go check out a lot of his art, go on social media. There are a lot of people like Jim Lee, Frank Miller, Todd McFarlane, people who are like sharing stories about how big a deal George Perez was to them in their lives, and if you can see the art that they created, and they are like literally telling you, this is the person who got me, who was so big, that was so kind to me. Go check out some of those stories, and that's all I can say about it. So,
Sign us out.
all right, we're out, people. Hope you had a good week. We will try to do this again next week, but if not, you'll see us online. Stay safe. We out.